Hi guys, welcome to the first episode of Federation Nation. This is a show I've had ideas about for a long time. I've got a lot of things I want to go over from vintage WWF, whether it's Coliseum videos, the magazines, the wrestling figures, and certain things fit their way into their own show. Like From the Pages of WWF Magazine, which airs currently on Thursdays here on Collectors Entertainment Network. That's a show within itself. It's a topic that can run its course as just that one show. If you've seen the last few episodes of That Figures, my show, which is really about action figures in general, I started the first few weeks with the different series of the WWF LJN Wrestling Superstars. Another idea I had was to do a Coliseum home video rewind, but that would take a lot of effort because I'd have to watch them if I wanted to review them, and I didn't think I could get them out in a timely fashion. But I did already record the first episode, which goes over the first four that were all released together in 1985. And then I have this Federation Nation that I've been thinking about. So what I wanted to do was take that first episode of Coliseum Video Rewind, edit it a little bit, and really just make it the first episode of Federation Nation. Federation Nation will go over all sorts of things. We could show these old books that we have and anything else that's vintage WWF. Basically the 80s, but I mean anything that technically is Federation before WWE will be acceptable in this show, but it will mostly be 80s and also maybe into the early 90s. Each week will probably be a completely different topic, a different aspect of the vintage WWF era. So without any further ado, why don't I get you into that episode? Again, I've previously recorded it. It was going to be its own show. So there may be some out-of-date comments there about, you know, this next week or that next week, because I won't be doing a Coliseum Video Rewind every week, but it will be featured under the umbrella of Federation Nation. So again, without any further ado, the real time, let me get you into that show. Hey guys, welcome to Coliseum Home Video Rewind. One of my favorite things of being a wrestling fan in the 80s was Coliseum Home Video. Every time I went to the video store, I would beg my parents to be able to get Coliseum Home Video to take home. And usually they would oblige, and I would get it. That's probably the thing I rented most in the 80s. We rented movies, obviously, but when I went to the video store, it was all about getting Coliseum Home Video. Today I want to talk about the first four, all released in 1985, but the first four were the only ones that were released on VHS, Beta, and Laserdisc. Now, as you can see, I have three of the Laserdisc. One of them that is still eluding me is the Hulkamania one. So, let's get looking at these. I'm going to do the Laserdiscs first, and we're going to show you. This is Wrestling's Bloopers, Bleeps, and Bodyslams. It's interesting to be the first one out. I don't know if this was a rental at some point because it's got these numbers out over there. But it's interesting that this was the first one out because there's very little matches. It's a lot of just bloopers and weird things from TNT. That's mostly what it is. So there is the cover. Sorry about any of the glare. Here is the back cover for the Laserdisc. So you've got TNT stuff. You've got, looks like a wedding, and then Kamala. Take a look at that. The famous disappearing hairpiece match. Andre the Giant sings the Fish song. Ivan Putski. Plus much more, of course. Now, I'm going to show you that on VHS. And here's the VHS. Wrestling Bloopers, Bleeps, and Bodyslams. You could tell it's actually a different, cover than the other one. Wrestling's Bloopers, Bleeps, and Bodyslams. Here's the back. And you've got that picture there instead. And you've got the wedding picture and the lovelorn picture. And then the other one on here is the Kamala picture. So, you don't have this picture anywhere on it. That's the VHS. We can take a look. Here's the actual VHS. It's got some of my labels on some of my tapes are coming off, so you'll see that. Bloopers, Bleeps, and Bodyslams. And there you go. Now, let's take a look at the Beta, which obviously this is the Beta. Same size shape same size case, but obviously they put a little sticker on it. It's the same exact thing as the VHS, other than the sticker. Here's the back, and here's the actual tape. As you can see, Beta much smaller than VHS. You can see the volume number. Let's see if we can get that. WF001. So then we get to WF002. So, let's see if that'll zoom in. Focus. There we go. So we got the VHS copy. Mine's a little faded. And as you can see, my labels are coming off. So, really nothing to show you the tape-wise, but there's the labels. And there's that label. Just come off. I'm going to get some super glue and put them back one day. So there's the front, there's the back. I'm going to show you the Beta, but what's interesting about the Beta is that I've got, here you go. Here's the Beta. Got the glare off. There you go. Front and back's the exact same thing. It's VHS, except it says Beta. Here it is. This label's coming off. Exactly like the VHS one. Somewhere along the line, I got another copy of the Beta tape. And again, same thing. Front and back. This one has a much darker label. And if you look, it says 60 minutes. It's not 60 minutes. It's an hour and 17 minutes, just like the other copy and like the VHS. Here's again the label that has come off of my other Beta, 77 minutes, and it's lighter. So that's a little variant that I've just recently realized. I don't know how many other variants there are with Coliseum home video labels. Okay. Here is the Best of WWF Volume 1. Now, there's been so many Best of WWF Coliseum video releases. Here's the first one. Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Hulk Hogan and Andre team up. The legendary Bruno Sammartino, Muhammad Ali versus Gorilla Monsoon, Big John Studd, Rock Superstar Cyndi Lauper with Wendi Richter, and much more. Here's the back. How 80s is this? Best of WWF Coliseum video on a Laserdisc. So there's that. Here is your VHS copy. It's actually, again, it's a little different. It's a different picture. The back has two of the same images. Let's get it in there. Two of the same images and an extra image. There is your label. And how long does that say? So that says 90 minutes. And there is WWF Best Volume 1. Let's find the Beta tape. Again, same thing as the VHS, but different. Let's take a look at what the matches are. If we can zoom in there. Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan and Dick Murdoch, Adrian Adonis. Let me read it. Big John Studd, Hulk Hogan, Mean Gene Okerlund versus Mr. Fuji, George the Animal Steel. Oh, those are tag team matches. Special features, Gorilla Monsoon meeting Muhammad Ali, Piper's Pit, the Steel Cage. So that is Best of WWF Volume 1. Then we go to WF 04, or 004, as I said. They're all numbered, and this one is 4. There is your Laserdisc copy, WrestleMania. We all know what this is. Here is the card on the back. Get the glare out of there. Tito Santana versus the Executioner. King Kong Bundy versus S.D. Jones. Matt Bourne versus Ricky Steamboat. David Sammartino versus Brutus Beefcake. Greg Valentine versus the Junkyard Dog. The tag team of the USA Express versus Sheik and Volkov. $15,000 slam match. Andre the Giant versus Big John Studd. Leilani Kai versus Wendi Richter. And of course Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff. And then we will take a look at the VHS. Very similar. This one's actually exactly the same, except you get a little more of the image because it's a longer, vertically longer. Back is the same. Open it up. Have you cleaned your head today? This was obviously an old rental. And I could get it out there. And it actually has a Be Kind rewind. That label is definitely faded. And here is the beta copy. Okay, this whole thing's glaring. Much smaller, and you can see how much more yellow this one is. WWF WrestleMania. So I have, of the first 4, I've got 3 of them on Laserdisc, and and these are my open ones. I even have sealed ones back there. We could take a look. If anyone doesn't know what a Laserdisc is, let's go ahead and take a look. WrestleMania, right? This is basically, I mean, it's essentially a giant DVD. Not really, because this is an analog video format, as opposed to DVD, which is a digital video format. But it's the easiest way to explain it to people who don't know about the format. And there's a lot of reflection there. So yeah, that is Coliseum video, the first 4. I may go down and revisit these again and give you a more in-depth rundown of everything, but I definitely wanted to do the first 4 because they're, like I said, they're important as they're the only ones that were released on Laserdisc. And they were all released in 1985, and then after that, no more Laserdisc yet. You still had VHS and Beta. You even had Beta up until, I want to even say, the beginning of the 90s. You had Beta, especially for the big WrestleManias and stuff. Obviously, I've got some more back here that we're going to go through as we get through it. You got Ricky Steamboat Grudge Matches, Best of WWF Volume, whatever they're up to. The British Bulldogs, that's a pretty sought-after tape. And there's so many more. And the Coliseum videos were pretty much divided into a few categories. You had pay-per-views, essentially, or big events, like the big event, which you can see right there. You also had profiles, which was like, you know, Hulkamania was about Hulk Hogan. But you had like an Andre the Giant. You had Jake the Snake. You had George the Animal Steele. You had a lot of different profile ones about a wrestler. You had compilations, like 2 kinds of compilations. You had Best of WWF compilation, which was sort of its own category, where they showed you matches that were the best of WWF. Then you had compilations that were much more themed, like the Bloopers, Bleeps, and Bodyslams, just something like this. Most unusual matches, the Intercontinental Belt. So you had ones that were much more theme-oriented than just best of, where it could be anything. So that's about it for now. I do love my Coliseum video, as you can see, and I've got more. They're down there. I don't have a complete collection, or even a complete collection of the clamshells, which is really what I want to get. A complete collection of the clamshells. But I would also love anything that was Coliseum home video. It just brings back so much memories of, you know, being a kid, being a wrestling fan in the 80s is probably one of my favorite things about being a wrestling fan in the 80s, was those Coliseum home videos. So I guess that's going to do it for the first episode. We'll start going, I'm going to go in order as best as I can, but I do have some gaps. So wherever I have gaps, we'll just skip it and then get to it whenever I may pick it up. So until next time, have a good one. Alright guys, thanks for watching this first episode of Federation Nation, featuring Coliseum Video Rewind and the first 4 releases. We'll see you next week with some more vintage WWF Federation Nation goodness. Have a good one.